Home. What is home? I think everyone's understanding of home is different, but for me, home is a safe haven where I can retreat at any time and a strong backing when I live alone without help. And it's also the place that supports me as always, and the place I want to share the most when I have achieved academic achievements or encountered happy things. Home is my weakness, but also my armor. I'm very fortunate to have such a very harmonious and loving family. Living in this home keeps my personality and outlook on the world always optimistic and cheerful. Home is my other Disneyland in this world, literally. My study abroad experience started at the end of 2016, which I was 14 years old. I left home for the first time and started my own adventure alone. I started a new chapter in my life, completely different school and classmates, very interesting teachers and classes. Choir rehearsals and performances, Wisconsin's special temperature in April with snow days that other students don't have. My study abroad life was fulfilled with freshness and strangeness, and I tried my best to adapt and accept all the changes and unknowns. In addition to my personal experience, I want to let you know more about how homesickness is formed and why it is. We should know homesickness is not rare, and we don't have to be ashamed to say this aloud because it is a very common phenomenon. Homesickness is the feeling of emotional distress when you are away from home and in a new and unfamiliar environment. It affects those who've moved both temporarily and permanently, such as students, migrants, refugees, and those in the military.
You can see there are some dancing miners in the middle of the slide who have clearly gotten letters from home, and they're very excited. And in their letters and their diaries, they talk about how eager they were for this contact with home. These men could cry at the sound of piano music because it reminded them of parlors they'd left behind. They were reputed to pay $10 in gold for a biscuit, so long as it had been made by a woman. For women were a true rarity, and the taste of home was really, truly a treasure. Hardy adventurers, these men were pretty homesick fellows.
During my 4 years of studying abroad, I have encountered hardships and setbacks that I have never encountered before with my parents. One of the things I want to mention and talk about the most is an experience I had in the junior year of my high school. I would like to call that time the homesickness adventure, when I suffered from depression for several months. The pressure of going to school, the heavy schoolwork, and the peer pressure around me. I couldn't breathe at that time. I felt everything around me are fighting against me. I became more and more homesick as a result. Homesickness is getting worse day by day, and I'm a person who is reluctant to expose myself and the vulnerability and sadness to outsiders. So I started to be quiet and locked myself. I shadow between the school and the dormitory every single day. In my opinion now, to look back at that time, I was so hopeless and helpless at that time. I don't want to ask for help, and I don't know how to ask for help. Taking this opportunity, my friends and I recalled about homesickness. So yeah, let's hear what they think.
I guess homesickness is quite common among international students, but I personally don't have much experience about it because each time I start thinking about my home, I just stop thinking about it because I know I'll feel sad, but I have nothing to do about it. I can't just buy plane tickets to fly home since I didn't finish my semester yet. I guess another effective way would be just to video chat with your family members and your friends back in your home country. For me, I video chat with my grandparents and parents once a week. That is quite helpful. That make me feel like being at home.
I think homesickness is a very common thing for people who are living abroad. For me, when I'm homesick, I'm always quite down, quite sad, normally upset, and don't have the energy and the motivation to do my assignment, revising for my exams, or socialize with people. Normally, I just lock myself in my room, be on my own, and not interacting with people, which is not a very healthy sort of lifestyle and attitude to have. I found myself some go-to strategies whenever I feel alone or I miss everyone who is in China. For example, by calling my parents, my families, or just chatting and messaging my friends. Sometimes when they're not available or they're busy, I watch some TV dramas, TV shows in Chinese just to surround myself with my mother tongue, which has proven to be very beneficial and effective.
Rachel, a student from Beijing, came to us when she was 14, and she ended up graduating 4 years later. When she arrived, she quickly started participating in different activities like choir, volunteering, and joining clubs at her dormitory. All of these things involved connecting with other people and participating in different activities. These connections helped her deal with her feelings of homesickness and cultural adjustment. These connections helped make her high school experience a much more rewarding one. And I think right now I could say, probably with a lot of confidence, that she looks back on her experience in a positive light. And that's due to how she managed her feelings of homesickness, which all students who leave home for the first time experience. Thank you.
I think after such a long time of studying abroad, I have gradually adapted to it and found a way to be alone with myself. I find my own rhythm to deal with the homesickness. I became stronger and learned to do something else to distract myself from my homesickness, such as spending time with friends instead of being alone, or listening to an interesting podcast and watching an interesting novel or learn a new dish. As long as you live with a pair of eyes that are good at discovering beauty of life, you will not always be caught in the whirlpool of emotions and cannot extricate yourself. Balancing my study life and my family is a new skill I learned at 20 years old. I hope everyone can find the balance between themselves and their family. No homesickness, but only happiness.